This is Uncommonly Remarkable. We have surprisingly casual discussions about the lives and notable accomplishments of community leaders, entrepreneurs, and everyday folks like you and me. Think of this podcast as an opportunity to learn something new and to pick up on an entrepreneurial tip or two through open conversation. I'm Artis Beatty. I'm a doctor of optometry and the chief medical officer for MyEyeDr OD. Though we will inevitably touch on topics within my area of expertise, the opinions and conversations held here are separate from my work with my eye doctor. What happens when your dream life takes a sharp turn left and lands you in a foreign jail with no idea what's coming next? In this episode of Uncommonly Remarkable, I sit down with Chancellor K, author of 14 Days in Beijing, to unpack his incredible journey from college athlete to accidental inmate in China and ultimately to multiple-time best-selling author. We talk resilience, reinvention, and the mindset it takes to own your story and turn rock bottom into the launch pad for something remarkable. Whether you're an aspiring writer, someone navigating your own transition, or just in need of an inspiring comeback story, this conversation delivers heart, hustle, and real wisdom. Ladies, gentlemen, all you remarkable people, please welcome Chancellor to the show. Excited to have you on the show. I have been looking forward to our conversation because your story is absolutely amazing. And there are just so many little pieces and parts that I think you're going to really get people to understand kind of what you faced, but also to think a little bit about what they do every day. And there's some advice I think you can give a lot of people on who are thinking about writing, who are looking to get into publishing their story. And so I'm really excited for us to touch on all these things.
So, man, appreciate you for having me. Blessings and balance to you. Blessings and balance to everyone that's tuning in right now. Big shout out to y'all, man. Sure.
So if people have not had a chance to read your book, we're gonna kind of set us up a little bit without giving away anything that's gonna spoil the book for people, right? But you had an experience where you were living in China and you were detained. And during that time, you learned a lot of things, and then you ended up writing about some of those things. And it's kind of an unbelievable tale when you consider that you were far, far from home and had to deal with some things you never expected to deal with.
Factual. Yeah, 14 Days in Beijing is unforgettable and shocking story of my experience getting locked up and detained in a Beijing penitentiary.
Wow. So let's go backwards a little bit and let's kind of talk about what led up to you being in China in the first place. So my understanding is you grew up in the Atlanta metro area, and you had a pretty good football career. You played football for quite a while, even played in college. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Stetson University, go Hatters.
Most excellent. And so, I've got friends who have been and are really good athletes, and there's always lessons, things you learn as you're playing these sports that really kind of shape where you go in the future. As you start to think about your career in football, tell me a little bit about some of the things that you learned, how you got started in football, and where that really took you.
Really, I always gravitated towards football. Like we tried other sports growing up. My brother and I we played basketball one year. We didn't really like it. We had basketball courts in the neighborhood, tennis courts in the neighborhood, but the only thing that we rarely gravitated towards was football, and we really didn't get the opportunity to play like organized football until eighth and seventh grade. So we was pretty much late to the, especially to be from the South. Most of the people that's been playing football been playing since they was 4 and 5 years old. So we just a whole lot of it's a huge gap we got to make up for, especially just the fundamentals of the game itself, especially safety from a safety aspect.
Right.
Thrown out there and really don't know how to use your equipment properly. You know, it's a quick way to get hurt. But we were fast learners, hard workers as well. So even with our late start, we both was able to play at the collegiate when it was awesome.
And so, as you, as did you, what position did you play?
Defensive back.
All right. And so you going into college, were you um, did you have scouts? Were you prospected? Like, how did that work for you going into college
Right.
play?
So yeah, my story is interesting just because I wasn't like the highly recruited player, you know what I'm saying, on my team, or really wasn't even the best player on my team. Um, I was definitely a hard worker, uh, great grades, and I marketed myself. Aside from what I witnessed, a lot of players didn't do that graduated before me and really ain't end up going anywhere because it wasn't like we was the best. We played for the best high school in our county. Now that was far from the case. So it's like I knew we was gonna have to put in a little bit extra work just to get noticed, get our film and name in front of the scouts. So really, I took it upon myself to email coaches. Like I had a whole list from schools from D1 AA to D2 to D3 NA. And every day after school, during school, I'm just going to school's football athletic page, going to their staff directory, copy and pasting everybody email. Then, I already had email pre-typed and everything, sending it to coaches, DMing them on Facebook, DMing them on Twitter, just put myself out there. And it wasn't until I applied for Stetson, got into the school, hit up the coaches. Hey, I'm coming down there for on academic. I love to meet with y'all. See, you know what I'm saying, just shoot my shot, see if I can make something shake. And they was like, all right, you know what I'm saying, we'll meet with you. Went down there, met with them, talked with the DB coach. I went to their summer camp too over the summer going into my senior year. He remembered me from the camp.
Ah, okay.
Station. There really wasn't no say so if this was going to be the done deal or I was going to have to continue to look. I went back home, a few days passed. And one of my friends had messaged me, said, hey, bro, you on Stetson's website? I go to the football page. Oh, there I was on the roster. I was like, that's how I got the opportunity to play kind of my own for sure.
That's amazing. But it feels like you were already looking to be an entrepreneur. You were marketing yourself, which is just not something people do, particularly in high school, thinking about going to play college ball. What did you learn during the process?
Um, you're gonna get told no a lot. You know what I'm saying? But you got to continue to put yourself. You got to continue to put yourself out there. If I would have just quit or gave in to, you know what I'm saying, the results, the final results, I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to play. I honestly would. I don't even know what I would have done. You know what I'm saying? Next, probably would have joined the military or something. If it wasn't for that, but it's just resilience. You know, that's all really what I took away from it most. Continue to put yourself out there, no matter what. You're gonna get told no 1,000 times, a million times, but you're gonna catch a yes eventually. But you never get that yes if you quit.
And so you're a student athlete now. You're playing football. You're trying to plan for your post college career. Did you have ambitions to play professional football, or were you thinking that I've done this now? I'm going to be looking for something different. What was your thought process then?
At first, of course, try to I had professional knew like freshman sophomore year that the league wasn't gonna be in the picture as far as once it's time for the end of my senior year. So I was like, I'm still content. This is something I always wanted to do. I was
Right.
adamant about it, and I actually got to do it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people
Yeah.
try to do what I did. Some was able to get into the rooms, fell out, or they messed it up on that. You know what I'm saying? Just not doing right, or just didn't get the opportunity whatsoever. So I'm like, bro, I'm extremely grateful for my journey. That just showed me like, bro, whatever I put my mind to, I can accomplish. Now here comes a real challenge. I got to rediscover myself all over again because like
Yeah.
I was a student athlete. I play football. That is me. I embodied it to the fullest, and now that's no longer the case.
That's it's an interesting thing that when you say that, because there are a lot of career choices or a lot of things that people do, and their identity is wrapped up into the thing that they do, right? So it could be that your identity is wrapped up in being a military officer, it's wrapped up in being a student athlete.
Mhm.
And so when it's time to make a transition, it can be hard because you're trying to almost change your identity a little bit. So how did you tackle it?
Same as before. I'm like, well, I don't know what it is I want to do. For the longest, I just wanted to play football. So I just like I got to read. I got to relearn myself all over again, and figure out what it is that I'm good at and what I'm not, what I'm interested in, what I'm not. And the only way to do that, I just got to try a bunch of different things. Honestly, so I just started applying for jobs, and it's mainly corporate positions I was applying for. I'm like, I go to this prestigious school in the South. I should be. I play college football. I'm like, I should be able to land a job somewhere, somebody's company. So that was the game plan first. I'm landing interviews. I'm talking some of them. I'm getting flown out to, put up in hotels. Like I'm getting the whole
Oh,
nine.
wow. Wow.
I I continue to get no's. Kept getting the no's. Kept getting the no's. And I'm talking about months have passed. Like football season, my senior season ended in November 2017. I'm talking about we nearing graduation, and I'm still like trying to find something. I'm like, damn, bro, what's going on? And the
Right.
excuse I kept getting from the companies that kept telling me no was like, oh, you lack the experience. Oh, we want to go with somebody that's a little bit more uh, talented or just a little bit more knowledgeable of the position. But it's like y'all knew that was the case when I submitted the application and y'all set up the whole interview process. Like, come on now. I was like, I done moved back home. Um, I'm still same boat, still pushing, applying, and I'm like, I got to reapproach this job search thing. Clearly, you've been trying to shoot for corporate. It ain't been working for you, bro. So it's like that might not be for you. We got to see what else is out there. It's like, what are you good at doing, bro? You good at working with people, talking to people, you dealing with people. I'm like, all right, that sounds like social work. So I just was to the social. I think I was on Indeed. I just typed in social work and I just hit enter. I ain't put no destination anywhere. I just hit enter, and I'm going through the listings, and I go through the filters, and there was for some reason I never noticed this button when I was searching for jobs before, but I noticed it today. It said international. Man, why haven't I thought to look outside the U.S. for opportunity?
Oh,
Let me see.
wow.
The world is big. Let me see what's going on in the world. And that's when I seen, oh, teach English to kids in China. That sounds lit for real, for real. What's the qualifications? Well, the requirements: clean background, bachelor's degree, native English speaker. That was it. So,
Oh,
what I
wow.
pretty much just like, okay, I'm for real. I'm like, that's. I applied. Next thing you know, we set up the interview, do the interview. But I've been in this position before, time and time again. So I ain't really,
Right.
no hopes up. I ain't really putting too much energy into it. But I heard back from the recruiter, and they was like, "Yeah, we want to move forward with you as a candidate." I was like, "Man, this is that crazy." The first job that's hit after the 8 months of applying, being told no, is on the other side of the world. Hey, China, here we come. This is what we finna do. No if and buts about it.
That's absolutely amazing. And so, I've never really thought about looking for an international job. So it's not surprising that that would not be the first thought. But I think when you thought, man, let me apply for this job, and you had already had so many no's, you weren't thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be the one. But in the back of your mind, how did you process that I might have to move across the world to be able to do this. And it's going to be completely different than kind of what I set out to do when I started looking.
Thanks. Initially, it was like, it's a shot in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Like, I doubt they'll want to move forward with me, but it's like, hey, ain't hurt to try. Like, literally, ain't hurt to try. The shoot is shoot. I'm gonna shoot my shot. And it wasn't like all I had to do was just submit my resume. So it was like 2 clicks of a button, boom, boom, resume submitted. I just continued on with my search. I didn't really think much of it. And
Right.
it was like, okay, I was like, I said that would be funny if I mess around and actually get this job. But like, it was just a shot in the dark. I didn't really think much of it until it actually came to fruition. I was like, oh snap, okay. This is it. But I was really sold on it, but I was like, it is a big decision, so let me. They gave me like 5 days to make a choice to see if it was something I wanted for real, and talk amongst it with peers and family. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure it's something you really want to do, because this is a big jump you finna make. But I was like, man, fresh out of college, I'm finna move to China. I'm like, that sounds so lit. That sounds
Well, 5 days is not a long time to make a decision that big, but you had the 5 days, so you make the decision. Did you know where you were going? Like what part of China you were going to be in?
well. They gave me three options: Bali, Indonesia, Shanghai, China, or Beijing, China. Um, at that point in time, I didn't really know nothing about Bali, so I automatically crossed that off the list. I'm like, I'm straight on that. Um, I chose Shanghai originally because it's a bigger city,
Uh huh.
and the crew's like, okay, you can do Shanghai, but like, there's higher demand for teachers in Beijing, and will pay for all your expenses to get over there. If you do Shanghai, you got to come out of that. I said, oh, you should have said that from the jump. Beijing it is. Let's do it. And it's like, it's still lit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, let's do it. For sure.
So you've now told the family, you've everybody's talked about this, and you're just like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to Beijing, and you get on the plane and you go. Like when I'm trying to understand a little bit about how you're going to teach English, because you didn't speak Mandarin really at the time, right?
Not at all whatsoever.
And so how does this process work? So you go to you land in Beijing. You don't speak the language. It's probably even harder to read because of the characters. So
Yeah,
now you're going to deal with children and you're going to teach them English. Talk to me a little bit about this process. Like how does this work?
for sure. So I was I came in with like a little recruiting class. It was probably like 28 of us.
Okay.
They all up in the same hotel for 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks. And within that 2 weeks, we was going through training for the job. Um, we had to find our own apartments, apartment search as well. Uh, so found my spot. Me and one of the other dudes I was in a recruiting group with, me and him room together. We lived on the east side of Beijing. Um, and after those 2 weeks, we started working in our schools. Everybody' experience was different as far as after we got done with training. Some schools they threw their folks straight into the fire. Like you got about 8 classes. You know what I'm saying? Like just threw them straight into the fire. Like, bro, we only trained for 2 weeks, bro. You really can't. It's only so much you can learn and gather from training before they actually put you in the field for real, for real. But some was thrown completely into the fire off the rip. My job, fortunately, really baby stepped. They like guided me through it. I was
Okay.
very that because I'm like, man, my experience could be completely different. Just hearing other people's stories, like it was chaotic. But the classes pretty small, especially like younger scholars. It's probably like no more than 10 of them per class. The classes are like an hour, I want to say, long total, um,
Okay.
and it's pretty much just like flashcards and sight words and depending on what level the class is, formulating sentences, writing complete sentences and paragraphs. So depends. I was working with kids as young as 3 years old all the way up to like 12, 13. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
wow. Okay, the big range.
but they tested students before they even accept them into the program, and based on where they're at with English, they'll place them on that level. So you had some that were very beginners, and you got some that can hold a decent little conversation with you for real, for real. And this isn't like an actual like school. This is like a training center. So
Oh, okay.
school, school out, you know what I'm saying, regularly, and then that's the thing about them over there. Majority of the time, most of them kids have extracurricular activities. At least the kids in the area I was working with, they have extracurricular activities at school, like three, four things that they're doing. They ain't just going home and just sitting on the game all day and watching TV or the tablet. Nah, they got baseball practice or soccer, or they play instruments, or they coming to learn English. You know what I'm saying? They hustling. Like they working 12-hour days with kids. So that was
Wow.
yeah, it was a major difference in the culture shock. But Um, I I seem to found the talent, and it it came pretty easy for me. It's really just working with kids, just match their energy. Now, of course, I'm a former athlete, so a lot of
Yeah.
my we making it. It's all competition, or you know what I'm saying. You gotta jump or be active and run and hit this flashcard and stay hit this flashcard. Whoever can get through the maze the fastest, you know what I'm saying, is the winner. So just make it fun and competitive for the students. So yeah, it was a vibe.
That's pretty incredible. And these students are trying to learn the language. It's interesting to hear you say there were children that were kind of in all ranges and they were tested and kind of put where they matched up the best. Um, when you think back on just look dealing with the children, were they just normal kids though? Like I
Yeah,
you know like were they just doing normal kid stuff?
yeah, real kids. I'm like, kids are the same no matter where you go. Like that's one thing. Like, kids. So I was like, that's it was just interesting because I was thinking I was expecting these kids gonna be extremely obedient. You know what I'm saying? They gonna sit up straight. You know what I'm saying? Not talk like nah. These jokers. I had a fight, but break out of my class one time. I caught me
What?
completely off guard.
Wow.
That was the last thing I was expecting. But them boys just kicking each other. I said, oh. I'm over there. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I gotta break.
So how long were you planning on being in China on this assignment?
My contract was originally set for a year.
For a
So
year. Okay.
year, and once that year is up, we'll see what comes from that. We'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. But
And and so
it was
you were
good.
living, but you were living in a normal or typical environment. Like you weren't sequestered or separated from the Chinese population, right? So you were just kind of
Yeah,
living
yeah,
among people.
yeah. I lived in the business districts, so like my little areas, people that had a little money. It was lit. It was a nice little area. We had a 14 floor mall, like right across the street. They had a grocery store at the bottom of it. Had two, three markets on our street alone. That's across the street from each other. So it was very convenient. It was nice. 2 bedroom apartment. Yeah, it was smooth.
And so did you going there and not speaking the language, did you work on it and try to start learning
Most
Mandarin?
definitely. Before I even, it was a 3 month long process just to get my visa. So once I accepted the position, I still had 3 months before I was even able to go to China.
Oh,
So
okay.
uh, I took it upon myself to start learning just the basics. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't hold no full in depth conversation with nobody, but I could definitely move and groove if I needed to. And then what I couldn't translate or communicate, I can just app to get my point across.
Like what it's interesting to think about that, right? Like you're going to another country, you don't really speak the language. You're now trying to live among people who speak a language that you're not really good at. I mean,
Yeah,
I've traveled internationally. It's always difficult because A, you want to be sure that you know what you're hearing and saying. you
facts.
you know if you're traveling to European countries, it's a little easier because even though you don't speak the language printed, you can start to look at things and learn things from the printed just because of the
Yeah,
common alphabet, right? What was
facts.
it like in China though, trying to go to get your groceries or hearing people speak on the street or trying to read menus? Like, what was it like?
Yeah. Far as just navigating was pretty simple. You can use your Google, no, not Apple Maps. You can type in wherever it is you need to go, and it'll show you like step for step where you need to go, what trains you need to ride, all of that. So getting anywhere, or you could just order it on what they call that was their version of Uber out there. Type it in.
Oh, I see.
But I was on the train. Train is pretty. It ain't take us long to learn that at all. Like it's very very busy, but it's simple. It's so simple to learn. And they have English translations or alphabet translations.
Oh,
Um,
that's a plus.
so that it makes it easier to know where you're at and stuff like that. As far as menus and stuff like that. Oh yeah, you definitely gotta get your phone out and scan the menu to try everything that's going. You just see what. see what it says if it doesn't have any English translations. But I feel like with Beijing and Shanghai, like those being Hong Kong, those being big cities in China, and so they're gonna have more foreigners visiting. They adapted the, you know what I'm saying, just to cater to tourism. Now, if you in Timbuktu, China, completely different story. For sure.
And so you mentioned your roommates with one of the people who was kind of in your onboarding crew. Did you meet other people that were teaching English, people from the U.S. that were part of that class? Did y'all start to work together or hang out or any of those things?
Oh yeah, you definitely we our little recruiting class was very tight. Like it was like we ain't never seen a group like y'all to come in and remain so tight the way that y'all did. Y'all, everybody else usually just going about their business, or they got beef with this person don't like this person because of this what. So they had, but for us, it was like it was like we was all just jumping out on faith in our group. We got folks from all age ranges, fresh out of college to mid 30s, folks in their 40s, just like everybody just going through different things, just trying to figure out what it is that they want to do, and this is an opportunity for them to do that. So it was cool, man. We was joint by the hip for sure, and then of course once you start to really get out, you start to meet other people. It's a whole bunch of different group chats that you can get added to. So it was a huge, um, especially black person group chat and population out there in China. There's a lot of Africans in China as well. Like majority of the black people you'll see from Africa, Europe, and then you get your Americans in there too. It ain't now. It isn't huge in comparison to the Chinese population, but as far as having other people that look like you there, yeah, it's plenty of them out there. And then just going out, being out and about. Of course, it isn't common to see another person of color. So when you do, it's just automatically, you know what I'm saying, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Hey, yeah, here in America, especially in Atlanta, you'll walk past 4 or 5 black people, won't even bat an eye at them. You won't pay them no mind. But you're in some place that's completely taboo and foreign. Oh yeah, love. I see you out here, my boy. So,
Well, and so I asked that question specifically because it was kind of your friend circle that started growing that you got to be not only in the Chinese culture but kind of building your own culture with the friend set,
yeah,
and some of that is what led you to eventually get in a little trouble.
correct. Correct.
So talk
Yeah.
about that
So
just a little bit, just some kind of because I there's a lot to the story of kind of all the things that were going on, but essentially you met some people that while in China had access to cannabis, and you guys kind of on a lot of levels became friends, and ultimately that's kind of where we take the story that got you detained, right?
correct. So it was really two teachers that I worked with at the school that we worked at. Um, they was the ones that was like, "Hey man, you smoke?" I'm like, "Yeah," but I'm like, "What y'all talking about?" Because they change folks cigarettes like it's required by the law out there. Is that what y'all referring to? Nah. They was like, "Nah, like smoke." I'm like, "Oh yeah, for sure." So we just started hanging out more, having smoke sessions after work. Um, and then, of course, I was introduced to the Connect. So me and him formed our own relationship, and I was happened from him. Um, this was like the entire time I was out there for the most part. Like I was only out there for 6 months total. I say about 5 months. You know what I'm saying? This is how I was moving, but everything was cool. It wasn't like we was wilding. We just go to work, come home, cook, eat, have a little session, vibe out, and then go to bed, wake up, do the same thing all over again over this weekend. You know what I'm saying? We just have a session and then just go explore China. So you can all imagine being faded and just going to explore a foreign country. Oh man, we had a blast. But one fateful day, like everything caught up to me. It was April 4th, 2019. I was it was a day off for me. I was getting ready to go to a team builder event every month. Our company hosts a team builder events. It's like a list, like 4 or 5 of them. Everybody just pick and choose which ones they want to go to. And that way, that's another great way for you to meet other employees of the company that work on completely different side of the city and just meet more foreigners and stuff. Just form more bonds and find more of your tribe. So I was supposed to go to this fan painting event. We was going to customize and design our own Chinese fans. I'm like, okay, that's going to be hard. Something.
Okay.
So I was pre-gaming for that, smoking, listening to music, sipping a little Chinese wine cooler, whatever. I get done, get dressed. I'm getting ready to make sure I got all my final things before I walk out the door. And I hear a knock. I'm like, okay, guests aren't unfamiliar. So here's to see who it is. I look through the peephole, and there's the 3 officers from the Beijing police. Oh, this
Oh,
can be good.
oh no.
Open the door. They come. Um, he's talking. Of course, I don't know what he's saying. Written on my face, I have no clue what you're talking about. So he takes out his phone. He speaks into his app, and it translates. Are you on drugs? I'm like, nah, bro. What you talking about? You tripping? What you mean? He talking to the phone again. Showed me the phone. Said, are there any drugs in the house? I'm like, bro, no. Where are you getting this information from? Nah, bro, your passport? You probably need to see my passport. You got me confused with somebody else. I'm gonna get my identification and paperwork and bring it back to you for you to look over. So I went and grabbed everything, gave it to him. He sat down. He starts reviewing it. The other 2 officers, they just walking around the apartment, just scoping the place out for real. A few moments passed. Another officer entered the apartment. He has something in his hand. I'm like, I don't know what that is. But he hands it to the officer that's looking over my documents. That officer then stands up and pretty much tells me that he gestures communicates that I need to pee into this cup. So it's a drug test right there on the spot. I was like, oh yeah, it's over with. I said, it's over with, boy.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, do the drug test, fail the drug test, and that's when the cuffs is thrown on me, and that's what the story begins.
So, so this is unbelievable, right? Because in the U.S., never ever would that happen.
On
Um,
me.
and so so how did they get onto you? Was it that they had suspicion? Did they smell something? Like what happened to
That's
get
still a
them
mystery.
there?
It's left to people's own assumptions because literally, I'm like I said, this is my regular routine. Like I've been doing this for months and never had no issues. So why this one fateful day? I'm like, it just was written that is, you know what I'm saying? This, yeah, it's still a mystery to me.
And so the on the spot drug test is out of
Crazy.
control. I know we're used to having people have a breathalyzer, but generally that's because they're doing something like they're driving.
Yeah.
And then that opens you up to being able to have a breathalyzer. China's different. It's a different environment, which I have to say you're probably a little brave being that being that far away from home and having your routine, right? But so you're going through the translator and they're telling you here you got to take this drug test. Now you're in the cuffs. What happens?
Um, we go to one precinct. And they set me down in the chair. It's like it looks like the typical scene in any like TV show or movie. Like when they bring in a new arrest, you got the officers on desk duty. You just got the line of chairs that they sit the inmates in. It was
Yeah.
literally like that, but the Chinese version. Look, just but I'm just sitting there handcuffed. Just I'm really in disbelief. Like man, I can't believe this is actually happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like running, replaying everything that transpired. Like this better, I could said this better. I don't know what's gonna happen. How this gonna play out. But I right in that same moment, I also said, um, regardless of what happens, I'm gonna have to take this in. Take note of every minor detail. This is gonna be a great story to tell.
That's
Most
a
importantly,
presence of mind. Good
yeah.
gracious.
So, so I knew I was like, man, it's gonna be a crazy story to tell. I can't believe this happening. So folks, I already know people ain't gonna believe it. So yeah,
And
I know. Like,
and so now you're there and They're going to go through whatever the Chinese process is. Do you have a translator, an interpreter with you at all?
Like all the talking that was really being done to me at the beginning, like when they was in my apartment. Oh, as soon as some cups get on me, all forms of communications. I'm definitely not talking to them because one, I'm like, I can't speak your language. Two, just from my knowledge of how it is in America, keep your mouth closed. Unless directly spoken to, don't say nothing. So I ain't finna, I wasn't doing no talking myself. And they wasn't really doing no talking either until it was time for my official interrogation. But, and then by that time, that was like 2-3 hours until that point. So I had plenty of time to come up with a story to give them. So we do the interrogation. Everything was just, well, the interrogation is pretty crazy. It's because they take me to the basement of the precinct into this room, white room. And in this room, it's a table for the officers. It's a camera behind the table, sitting up on a tripod, a tall tripod, capturing across from the table, all metal chair. So they walked me to this all metal chair, and this chair locked my chest, waist, thighs, and legs, and my arms all in one place. So I could only part of my body I could move was my head. So they locked me to this chair to do my interrogation.
Yeah, the description of this chair is unreal. It is very much like a horror movie. Like if you think about what you could be trapped in for the next segment of whatever horror movie there is, that feels like this chair.
As soon as they opened it, they was just looking at me. I looked back at them. I looked at the chair, look back at them, look at the chair again, look back at them. Like, I really want me to sit down in this? Like, my eyes are like, y'all really want me to sit down in this chair? They just look at me with a straight face, like, yeah. I bet then. They serious. So I'm like, I just got on down. They locked me in. Officer Wayne came in and he does the interrogation. After the interrogation, well, like I said, it was two officers. So Officer Wayne, he asking all the questions. The other officer, he's transcribing the interrogation. So once it was done, they brought the transcription over to me to review. Me and you, this entire thing is written in Mandarin, so I don't know what this is. But they say to sign it, I sign it. They say thumbprint it, I thumbprint it. And they release me from the chair, take me upstairs, do my mug shot and handprint and all that. And they throw me back into the holding cell. Hours and hours pass. They finally come back and get me, take me to the lobby, bring my basket of clothes. I'm like, oh, what? Or they must have bought my store. They finna let me go. So I threw my clothes on. I'm dressed. I'm ready to go. Like, man, what's the next move? What we doing? They had me follow them to this hallway that's behind the front desk in the lobby. So at the end of this hallway, it's this room and it's crowded with officers. So I'm like, I don't know what this room is, but as I enter the room, I can only guess this some form of evidence room because I see like TV monitors that they watch footage on. I see CDs and DVDs and just it's a bunch of just cop stuff in there, like officer detective stuff in there. But in the table in front of me is everything that was confiscated from my apartment. So they weighed the cannabis right up in front of me. So I'm like,
Oh,
this is interesting.
wow.
I'm like, I ain't never seen this happen like on TV or nothing like that. But I'm like, okay, here we go. They scale it up. It totaled out to be 1.4 grams. So that's powerful within itself because that was, I was curious myself to see how much I actually had, one. And then two, little did I know that was a foreshadow and how much time I was going to
Oh,
1.4. You remove that decimal.
yeah.
But I ain't get that. I ain't peeped that until like I'm writing the book and editing. I was like, oh, 1.4. I'm like, but that's 14. That's crazy. So, but yeah, from that point on, they put everything on paper, had me sign and thumbprint it, and then we get back in the van. I'm like, all right. It's still nothing's been explained to me as far as what's happening next. I'm just following orders. I'm like, but there's no way they're not taking me home. I'm being cooperative, like you know what I'm saying.
And it's only 1.4 grams.
Like it should be a slap on the wrist. So we riding, and I can just feel in my spit. I'm like, bro, I don't feel like I'm getting any closer to to the apartment, bro. So like 30, 40 minutes pass, we arrive at this facility detailed with tall walls and barbed wire. I was like, we just getting started. We just getting started. So, um, yeah, that's where I was housed at. I was locked up with 14 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 15 men to one cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 soups a day. And all I had was a plastic bowl and a plastic spoon.
And no understanding of what was
Yeah.
going to happen next, or
Don't even know what I'm finna
when
do
this
for.
was going to be, when this is going to be over.
I'm just in here. But I was like, on top of that, I gotta hold myself accountable. It's like I consciously knew the repercussions from my actions. So it's like the fact that we actually here, hey, I can't point the blame or be upset with nobody but myself. So that regards, I gotta take this in accountability. That's one thing that I learned from playing football. Holding yourself accountable and holding the other ones around you accountable for the betterment of the team. So I was like, I gotta take this to the so, just pray that the angels keep their hands on me, and um, we just gonna figure this thing out one day at a time.
And so it begins, and you don't know exactly when it's going to end. You During the process, you I think you started in one cell. You
Mm-hmm.
subsequently, after several days, moved to a different one and met some people who also spoke English, which was probably a relief considering you were trapped kind of with people who you couldn't communicate with. And ultimately, on day 14, what was different about day 14, and how did, well, first let me ask you, did you go to the embassy?
I didn't meet with the embassy until day 7, so I
To
was in
day
there a whole
7?
week.
Oh gosh, okay.
Actually, no, I'm capped day 9. That's when I met with the embassy. Day 9. Yeah.
So you were there 9 days, and no contact with the embassy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah.
and so nobody knew where you were, right? Like
Day
family,
7.
friends.
They took us foreigners downstairs to the lobby, and they allowed us to contact our family members to see who could buy us a plane ticket for whenever our time was up. So that was the only opportunity I had to make that, um, stuff like that. But it was very very brief. It wasn't it wasn't long at all. And then after that, communication ceased to exist until I'm fully released.
So then we get to day 14. Did it start different? Did you know it was going to be the day? Like, what happened on day 14?
Um, Really, it's just same typical program. Um, I'm asleep, and they always come by. Well, they come on an alarm. They wake us up every day at 6:30 a.m. Um, but sometimes you'll hear them come by the cell, open up the cell, bring in new cellmates because they always bring them. They always bring in new inmates overnight. I don't know why. Grand thing. So I'm assuming they just bringing in another inmate to the cell. So I didn't really think much of it, and I just hear them calling, saying my name. I'm like, why the hell they saying my name? Who's saying my name? Um, and then like my cellmates is like, hey bro, they call you, they call you. So I get up. I'm like, what y'all want? Like what? It's like, come on. I'm like, come on. They're like, come on. It's like, hey bro, tell you to go. It's time for you to go. I said, oh, grab my bowl, grab my spoon. Said peace out to the cell, dapped everybody up, and I was gone, boy, out of there.
Wow. And so now you're out, but did it come with stipulations like, okay, we're gonna let you out of here, but you got to do these things? Like, how did you get through the process of being now at least not trapped in the
Yeah.
small cell?
I was immediately deported from the country. So it took me straight to my apartment to pack up the rest of my stuff, and then straight to the airport.
So the ticket that so your family was responsible for getting you a
Yeah.
ticket, and so when you got to the airport, you had a ticket, and they were like, get on this plane because you got to go.
Factual. Got me right up out of there, quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Wow, wow. So So there's a lot that you write in the book about the experience. I mean, the people that you met while you were in while you were in jail, and there were all kinds of characters from different places in the world, including Russia, and like it was just very interesting, right? But you talk about the accountability that you had to have for yourself. When did you realize, though, that this was something you had to write about and tell people about because it was such an experience for you?
Um, so I got back in April of 2019. I didn't really get the idea to write it until like June, July. You know what I'm saying? So the whole time I was just sitting on the whole experience. But I knew I wanted to do something with the story. I just didn't know how to go about telling it at that point in time. And one of my good friends that I grew up with, DeMarco Reddings, he was a traditionally published author before we graduated high school. So he was like, "Hey, bro, you think about writing about the experience?" I'm like, "Well, that's a good idea. I don't even know where to start, but like, that's ideal right there." So he even took it further. He took my phone, went to my notes, and left me a little outline. I just started filling in the outline, and from there, I caught a flow for how I want. It started to come to me like, okay, this is how I'm gonna tell the story. So I moved it from notes on my phone to a Google Doc, so I could type it up fast, so it'd be faster to get it down. And it took me about 4 months to get the story fully completed, and then next 6 months getting it ready for publishing.
And from a publishing perspective, did you have prospects for publishing, or were you thinking, I've got to get this message out, so I'm going to try to figure out how to get this thing published on my own?
I really didn't know how. Like, I don't even know how that process. Well, he's my friend told me how that his process was in high school, but that was in 2014. Here it is, 2019, 2020. Like, it's a lot that changed since then. So it's like I'm pretty sure there's other avenues to go about publishing. I just gotta, I don't know. I was like, I'll figure it out once I get to that bridge. But like, I'm going through the editing phase and having people read the book. Like, I'm just hanging out with a friend or something. I just like, hey, bro, just read I ain't telling them what it is, and they just start reading. Next thing I know, quite a few minutes done passed. They ain't came back my laptop yet. They still just they locked in. I said, okay, I got one. I got one. So I was just, telling one of my partners about the book, and he was working for Amazon at the time. And like a few days later, I guess it came across his feed somehow about self publishing, and he sent that to me. I was
I
like, as soon
see.
as he sent it to me, I looked at it. I'm going through. I said, boom, this is exactly how we gonna do it. This is exactly how we gonna do it right here for sure. And it's like it's independent way. Oh man, that's all I'm on. This is the type of time I'm on. Especially I was listening to Nipsey Hussle a lot back then. I'm still listening to him a lot, but that's all he was. That's his whole brand. Just like the marathon, the independent way, owning your own rights, owning your own everything. So I'm like, yeah, that's how we.
Wow. And so you went from writing the story, going through all the phases, self-publishing to multi-time bestseller in multiple categories.
Yeah, make that up. It was like a Cinderella story. Couldn't make it up. I was blown away. Honestly, I knew it was gonna be good. Like I knew I was gonna get a good response from it, but I didn't think it was gonna be that.
But and I think that may be true for a lot of things that are absolutely incredible. Like you understand that the story is unique. The story is incredible. It has value. It has lessons to teach. It has things that people can take away. But you don't necessarily know that everybody else is going to gravitate towards it the way people have gravitated towards the story. And
Right.
so how do you then deal with that type of success and kind of think about what your next steps are?
I was like, man, just got to keep my foot on the gas for real. For real. I'm like, that's like somebody that puts out a single and it catches huge waves. Like, okay, but you got to take full advantage of this. If not, this time gonna pass you, and then you gonna look up and like, man, the moment's gone, the opportunity's gone. So I was like, I got on the gas, keep putting the story out there. That's when I jumped to podcast interviews heavily. Um, all different types of podcasts. I've been on over 150 different podcasts promoting this
Wow.
book and what I got going on. So it just took me back to football. Where am I going to play football at next year? I'm on
Yeah.
that time, so just continue to put it out there. Continue to put it out there. And the world is big. Like it has done well, but that's just only a small fraction of the world that even knows what 14 days means. Knows
Yeah.
Jackson is. Like, bro, I got a whole lot of more work to do. We just getting started for sure. So,
Well, but you haven't stopped though because you've written multiple books following this one, with some of the stories being kind of tied to flashbacks or different parts of the story, right? And so, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? Because I think you have books that are available that I can go out and people can go out right now and look for those books on Amazon, and other places. But you've also got one that's pending. Is that right?
yes, sir. So my next book is a completely different lane in comparison to my previous three. My previous three are just all stories, me retelling stories about just my personal experiences. But this new one is a self-help book. It's titled The Power of Becoming: Seven Pillars to Growth. Um, it's not just like a typical motivational read. It's pretty much like a personal roadmap to wholeness, centered around seven core themes: love, discernment, success, happiness, adversity, healing, and confidence. Teaching you how to break free from limiting beliefs, nurture healthier relationships, build an unshakable sense of self worth. Each page will offer you the ability to re-evolutionize your happiness, amplify your confidence, and um, guide you through any adversity that you may face. So I'm extremely excited because pretty much you get to see this nurturing side of me. You know what I'm saying? Um, versus just all the crazy stuff that happened in my life. It's like this is a whole completely different playing field. And I've tested and bounded in different genres, like with the previous two. That's in the romance erotica genre. So this self help tips. So it's like I'm touching every genre, trying to see work my one and everything. So I'm excited for it. I feel like it's gonna be impactful. It's gonna have huge presence in the book world, and I'm really excited to compare it how that sells and does for 14 days. Because 14 days Beijing is that's the home run heavy hitter for sure. Yeah.
Well, well, Chance, I mean, I really appreciate you spending some time with me, and talking through, some of these things because I think you have an amazing story and the resilience is incredible. I love the fact that you have been hustling from the beginning. Like you're like deciding with your football, you're like, I'm going to play in college. And then after figuring out, well, maybe I'm not built for the corporate world, I'm going to figure out what else I'm going to do, ultimately writing and doing so well at it, and then publishing, which is the mystery unlock for a lot of people who are out there trying to figure out how to write. And so I'm just excited to see what you're going to do next. I can't wait for the new book. And so we're going to have to catch up again after the new book comes out because, that type of genre is right up my alley. And so I'm going to be pretty excited to take a look at it and learn from you from that one.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Any aspiring authors out, tap in with your boy. I offer service coaching people through the writing and publishing process. I've worked with two people so far. Both of their books I've written number one. One of those being a 15-year-old girl. So
Oh, wow.
high school, and hers was like number one for like 9 days straight. So
Incredible.
yeah, yeah, definitely tap in with your boy. Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of that, if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
So man, Google Chancellor K Jackson. Everything you need will pop up on my websites, my social media accounts, and through any of my social media accounts, you can hit the link in my bio. That'll take you to my link tree. Where you'll be exposed to my website and other books I have available out there in the market. So yeah, man, simple
Fair
as a Google.
enough. I definitely will. I'll link your website in the description, as well as some of the other things that I found interesting about you and the book, so that people can find you easily. And hopefully, if there are aspiring writers out there, they get in contact with you and you help them too. So
Yes, sir.
this one is not really a goodbye, because I definitely am gonna catch up with you again. And so until we get the next book out, thank you again for spending the time with me.
Hey man, I appreciate you for having me on. Hey, everybody that's tuned in for the entire episode, you're a real one. So
For sure, for sure. If you've made it this far, then I have to thank you for your time. I hope you've learned something new and enjoyed listening to the discussion as much as I enjoyed having it. I'd love to hear from you about the show, because we're working really hard to bring you great content, and the feedback really helps us get better. If you like what you've heard or watched, for those of you who are streaming out on YouTube, then take a split second to give us a thumbs up or a like. It really helps other people like you find the show too. And no one likes to miss out on the good stuff, so go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't have to wonder when or if there's a new episode. And until next time, stay remarkable.